Welcome to the Audio Inc. Radio podcast, featuring interviews with the biggest names in rock and metal, hosted by Anne Erickson.
Get inked. Visit Facebook.com/Audio Inc. Radio, Twitter.com/Audio Inc. Radio, and AudioIncRadio.com for more ink. Whew, that's a lot of ink. It's AudioIncRadio.com.
Do you know what today is? It is my birthday show. It's going to be an extra big party. I've always loved just doing it up big for my birthday, no matter what. I mean, I think a lot of people, for kids, obviously birthday is a big thing. But hey, why not celebrate you, me? You know, whenever it's your birthday, I encourage you to embrace it and just be thankful that it's another year, that we've made it through this crazy world. It is my birthday, and this show is officially my birthday party. I am very happy to have you here. You are formally invited to my birthday party. Yeah, it is great to have you here. And I don't know, people always say, what do you want for your birthday? Blah, blah. I don't know. I mean, I feel really grateful to have you here rocking with me on the show. We've done really great lately on the iTunes and Spotify charts and stuff like that. We've been charting. We've had the biggest names in rock and metal, members of Pearl Jam, the Smashing Pumpkins. I mean, Def Leppard. It doesn't get any better than the guest that we've had on the show, and it's only going to get better. Actually, how could it get better? It's going to be equally awesome, because I don't want to say it's going to get better because it's already been great. And yeah, it's going to be great going forward, and I'm just very happy to have you here as a gift, as a birthday gift. But the one thing I always have to have on my birthday, no exception, cake, right? I mean, what did you think I was going to say? You have to have birthday cake. And I don't know if you have a favorite cake. I'm cheesy. I always have to have a favorite cake, but my favorite is actually white on white, which is one I'm having this year. I also like chocolate chip cake with the mini chocolate chips, white on white with mini chocolate chips in the batter. And I also like chocolate icing on yellow cake. Those are my three favorite. If you were wondering, I'm sure you were wondering, because everyone wants to know what's my favorite cake. Not really, but hey, I'm just serving that up for you. Thank you for being a part of the show and for being here at my birthday party, which is going to rock. And hey, if you do want to do a birthday gift, there is our Patreon. We've got everything from $1 a month up. It's a different package set, and that way you can support the show and help to cover the cost of the show. And it also helps Upon Wings, my band. Check out my band Upon Wings at uponwings.com. You can find us on Spotify, follow us on there, all that good stuff. And if you want to reach out to me and give me a birthday shout out, I would definitely appreciate it. I love birthday greetings. Every single one of them. As I mentioned, I'm kind of cheesy about that. I save them. I look at them all the time. So send me a birthday greeting. Head to itsmeanne.com, 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 and you can link up on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. Twitter and Snapchat Direct is at Anne Erickson. Instagram and TikTok is Erickson Anne. You can find me on Facebook. Just search Anne Erickson on Facebook and my page will pop up. It is very easy. I think it'll pop up right away. I've tried it a few times and some people have said it does. So it should pop up right away. And if you haven't subscribed to the podcast yet, go ahead and do that right now. Very easy. Just search Anne Erickson wherever you rock out to podcast. Hit subscribe and you'll be instantly notified of the next big episode, just like that. Quick, easy. That's how I like it. And one last thing, find Audio Inc. Radio on YouTube, youtube.com/Audio Inc. Radio for video interviews, basically our TV channel just for you. And on to the main attraction. Very happy to have metal royalty on the show. Her Highness, Wendy Dio, the wife of the late, great Ronnie James Dio. Wendy is a figure in the metal world. She has been for years. She has never stood just at the sidelines watching. She's always been involved. And people have so much respect for Wendy Dio, truly one of the queens of metal. She's on the show to talk about Rainbow in the Dark, brand new autobiography about Ronnie James Dio. He actually started writing it before he sadly passed away of cancer back in 2010. He had already started writing it, and Wendy teamed up with Mick Wall, a very famous biographer, and they put together an amazing collection here in Rainbow in the Dark, a memoir all about the life of the late great Ronnie James Dio. And they have really different stories in here. You're going to learn something, I guarantee, that you don't know about Ronnie James Dio. Wonderful person, just very happy to have her on the show. Let's do it. Wendy Dio right now.
Hey, this is Robert Mason from the band Warrant and the band The End Machine. And let's all celebrate Anne Erickson's birthday right now, all together on Audio Inc. Radio.
Hey, this is Will from Collective Soul, wishing Anne Erickson a very, very happy birthday. We love you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Anne Erickson. From Lawrence Gowan and Styx to you.
Hey, this is George Lynch from the Electric Freedom, and you're listening to Audio Inc., and I just wanted to say happy birthday to Anne Erickson, your host.
Hi, this is Wendy Dio. You're listening to Anne Erickson from Audio Inc. Radio Publications.
You know, it's great to talk with you, and congrats on the new autobiography, Rainbow in the Dark, about, of course, your late husband, Ronnie James Dio. And Ronnie, of course, started to write the memoir before he passed away. Was it a challenge to kind of bring the story forward in honor of him, or did it come easily?
No, it was a big challenge, actually, and I talked about it for a long time. I wanted to finish the book. The time was never right. And then Ronnie's good friend and journalist, Mick Wall from the UK, he said, pardon me, Wendy, it's time we did it. I said, well, I need help, because they'll help. So he and I went through, Ronnie had written the book up to almost the end of Rainbow, and then when he was sick, he had written and scribbled a bunch of notes on notepads and also on his computer. And so I wanted the book to continue in Ronnie's own words, and so we took all those scribbling and notes that he had, and then we searched the archives for interviews that he'd done around that time, so what he was talking about, and we put it together there with some other comments that I had remembered, memories that I had remembered that was happening at those times in his life, and completed the book.
Wow. What was your favorite part of the book to work on?
Let's see, favorite part of the book. I think favorite part of the book was reading the part that Ronnie had written, because there were some things in there I didn't even know about. I didn't know that he was such a bad boy and stole cars when he was in his youth and those things. But, just different things in the book. And I loved the photos that we picked. I didn't want the usual rock and roll, band photos, which people have seen a million times. I had to include some of those, of course, but I wanted to go in and put some really nice photos from our scrapbooks, and which we did. And that was kind of very bittersweet emotion, looking at those photos and remembering the times we spent together in those photos.
Right. I feel like the photos really bring to life the book and kind of set it apart from your typical memoir, if that makes sense.
Yes, that's what I wanted to do.
So Ronnie's been gone for more than a decade, which is so crazy. What do you miss most about him?
Oh, everything. Him yelling at me, telling me I'd done something wrong or he wasn't going to do something, and those things. I mean, the sweet times, the fun times, playing with the animals, just meeting with friends and doing things, just usual things. And of course, working on new projects and new albums and new things, which I'm still trying to do, but it's very hard without Ronnie, obviously.
Who would you say was Ronnie's best friend in the music world?
A best friend? Oh, I have many best friends. Through his career. Glenn Hughes was always a really good friend of Ronnie's. Rob Halford. Lemmy, Simon Wright, I mean, Craig Goldie, all these people, Scott Warren, all these people that, Tony, Geezer, all those, Vinny, I mean, all those people were like best friends. He had a lot of best friends. He didn't have really actually a huge amount of real close friends, but a few, and they always would come to the house and they'd sit around and drink beer and watch sports and things like that.
Oh, that's cool. So people know of Ronnie as a metal icon, but is there like a personal side to him that you hope the book gets across? Because I feel like it does show a more personal side of him.
Oh, absolutely. He was very down to earth person off stage. On stage he was a big star. Off stage he was very humble. He never forgot where he came from. He loved his fans. He loved his friends. He loved his animals. He'd just sit around and play with the animals or watch sports. And a lot of times he would write. He would take his guitar, acoustic guitar, and sit on the couch and write songs while he was watching sports. He just was a very normal human being and a very humble person off stage.
It's funny. For some reason, I never pegged him as like a sports viewer. So that's a really cool image.
Oh, yeah, big-time sports fan. And he was from upstate New York, so his teams were the Giants and the Yankees.
Well, cool. Those are good teams. Tell me about, there's a documentary in the works about Ronnie's life, right?
Yes, we've been working on that for a couple of years, and hopefully it will come out next year. So I'll know more about that. I'm actually going to see the first cut of that this month. I think it's going to be very different from the book. There's a lot of people in there that they are interviewed during Ronnie's lifetime and stuff. It's a very different from the book. As I said, very interesting documentary.
What do you hope people take away from the autobiography?
That they get to know Ronnie, how he was, and that he wasn't an overnight success. He really struggled to get where he was. He had a lot of ups and downs in his life, and he was just a very human person. And I think that, the stories he tells of his childhood and going through all the trials and tribulations he went through to get to where he was, the different things, the different bands and things, and just see him as a human being and not big rock star.
Right. And I think that's a good message. And I think that's inspiring for people because you see someone like Ronnie and you think, oh, he was always a metal god, but there was a struggle and it wasn't an overnight success.
Absolutely. I mean, his big goal was to play Madison Square Garden, and he used to, when he had his demos, with even before Elf, or he would walk, he would drive 250 miles from upstate New York into New York City, and then pound the pavement looking for someone who could maybe listen to one of his demos or think about the band or something, and he'd always look up at Madison Square Garden and go, well, one day maybe I'll play that place, and that his dream came true.
It's so great. Is there something in this autobiography that now it's been out just a little bit, fans are really surprised about, like something that you're hearing where they're like, wow, I never knew that about Ronnie?
Maybe because he started off as playing trumpet when he was like 5 or 6 years old, that he was in doo-wop bands, that, those things, that he was a really bad boy and he was in a gang for a while and stealing cars or borrowing them, as he put it. Things like that. I don't think fans would ever think of Ronnie doing that.
No, I totally agree. So what's new with the Dio band?
Going out again in March. Just going through a new stage set. We won't be taking the hologram out this year. We are working with the same company, Illusion, but with special effects. And it'll be film of Ronnie with the band, and we're trying to work on that with some effects going on. It takes a long time and a lot of back and forth with that. But I think we're very pleased with the stage set and what's going on, and it'll be a new set that we'll take out in March all over the place. So, and have some albums re-released with some bonus material. I'm in the vault right now looking through stuff and seeing if there's any unreleased material that will be up to Ronnie's standard to release. So
cool. Yeah, people have been talking for years about some tracks that might be out there that Ronnie was working on before he passed away. I was wondering, is there any new music out there, like demos or vocals, that could somehow become songs for people?
Oh, there are some stuff, yes, definitely. And I've been looking at that. And as I said, we have to. I'm working with Wynn Davis as Ronnie's engineer on that to use his ears to see if these things are up to Ronnie's standard and be able to put out or not.
Cool. So there might be more than just. I always hear about 3 songs, but there might be more.
Well, I know there are 3 songs. Yes, I said. There is other stuff. There's a lot of unreleased live stuff that was done in many different places we have. So it's just going through all that, updating it, making sure that it doesn't disintegrate, because some of this stuff is old and then, on the big 2-inch reels. So we have to get it back up to today's standards so it doesn't disintegrate. I'm working on that right now. Any
other Ronnie projects in the works?
Well, this is, as I said, the documentary, the band going out, the re-releases. That's about it for now.
Yeah, that's a lot. I'd
like to work on later down the line, I'd like to work on an illustrated book of lyrics, which I think would be really interesting for the fans.
That would be awesome. I think that people would love that.
Yeah, like a coffee table book.
What was your favorite Ronnie James Dio band?
Oh, hard question. I don't know. I would say probably Sabbath.
What do you remember most about Ronnie's time with Black Sabbath?
I remember the last part of his life, that he got back together with the guys as Heaven and Hell, and I think that was one of the things I really, really am so pleased that he got to do that before he passed away, because he did love those guys and he loved playing with them. They were such amazing players, and everybody had to be absolutely on their toes to keep up with each other. You got Tony Iommi, there was the riff master of all guitar, and Geezer Butler, one of the best bass players ever, and Vinny, the drum monster, and, with Ronnie, and all of them such incredible musicians, and the music was just so amazing, and they were so happy with that last run around before Ronnie got sick.
Oh, that is a good memory. Yeah, what do you think it is about Ronnie James Dio that appeals to people where, he's got so many fans around the world, and to this day, they just love him and miss him so much. What do you think it is about him that has that universal appeal?
Because he's a human being and he loved his fans and he wasn't fake. He always made sure that everybody got their autographs signed. He made sure he talked to people. He was interested in people. It wasn't just a chore that he did after a show. It was something that he wanted to do because he always wanted to give back to the fans. He never forgot without the fans he wouldn't be where he was. And he just truly loved the fans. He loved people. He loved to talk to people, all kinds of people. And he just always made people feel really special. He had that special gift of making people feel so important when he talked to them.
Oh, that's so true. What are your thoughts on the state of heavy metal music today? Because you really kind of have your finger, on the pulse of what's happening always in the metal world, in my opinion.
Well, there's some new young bands coming up. Obviously, you can't only invent the wheel so many times, and the innovators have done that. You've got the Deep Purples and the Black Sabbath and the Judas Priest and Iron Maiden and Metallica, and you have bands like Tool that came along. Bands. There's a lot of new young bands coming up, and I think there'll always be metal music because there's fans that want it. And so I think that, the new genre of kids will be coming up. A lot of them are discovering music of Ronnie's and Sabbath and Rainbow. And I think that they're continuing on, which I'm very happy to see. I see all these tribute bands, and I think it's great that keeping Ronnie's music and legend alive.
We've had a few rock star passings lately, and I'm wondering if you have thoughts on either Dusty from ZZ Top or Joey from Slipknot. I'm not sure if you were close with either of them.
No, I actually didn't know either of them. I knew Billy Gibbons because he did some charity work for us, but it's so sad. It's so sad, but you know what? Everybody's getting up to that age now. These innovators, they're all coming of age, and it's really, really sad. And there's so many horrible diseases around that we have to find cures for.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I also saw that Rudy Sarzo is back in Quiet Riot, and I'm not sure if you keep in touch with him at all, but I was wondering your thoughts on that.
Oh, I keep in touch with Rudy, absolutely, yes. And Frankie Benelli was a really, really good friend of mine, and I'm so sorry that he passed. That was just awful. He lost his battle with cancer too. No, I know. I mean, I keep in touch with Rudy back and forth. I didn't know he was back in quite right, but I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, it just a few days ago he announced it, so pretty cool.
No, great. That's good. I'm glad.
Yeah. Was there anything else you want to add? I've had a great time talking with you.
I don't think so. I think you covered everything. You're pretty good, you know.
Oh, why, thank you.
Very interesting interview.
Thank you so much, Wendy. And yeah, keep rocking, metal on and everything. And thank you for keeping Ronnie's memory alive.
Well, thank you for your support. Couldn't do it without people like you. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Her Highness, Wendy Dio, thank you for being an amazing guest on my show. This memoir is unbelievable. It's great. If you are a Dio fan, check it out. Rainbow in the Dark. It's available now. Written by Wendy Dio and music biographer Mick Wall. As I said before, you're going to learn something that you don't know about Ronnie James Dio, which is extra cool. And just a lot of great stories in here. Personally, I thought it was really cool that when I asked her about what's her favorite Dio band, she said Black Sabbath. I don't know why that surprised me, but in hindsight, it doesn't surprise me. I think that's a perfect pick. And it's cool because she seemed a little surprised by the question, which I always like. What a great person. What a pleasure to talk with one of the very few queens of metal that we have out there, Wendy Dio. Once again, thank you for rocking here on the show, and you are welcome back anytime. Looking forward to new stuff from Dio Band, which is what they're called now, and that documentary. I think that's going to be really awesome. So lots of great stuff in the works to honor Ronnie James Dio, one of my favorite vocalists. I always say that when it comes to metal music, I have 3 favorite vocalists: Ronnie James Dio, Rob Halford of Judas Priest, who has been on the show, and you can check out the episode right now. Just kind of have to scroll down just a little bit. And, wait for it, Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden. He's the other one that's one of my favorite. That should come as no surprise, my top 3 favorite metal vocalist of all time. Wow, what a fun birthday episode. Once again, thank you for being here at my party. I say we should have some cake. We need to celebrate. As I mentioned, I always have to have cake on my birthday. Today I have white frosting, white cake, which is my favorite. But hey, you know what? I say on your birthday, have cake, have 2 cakes, have as many cakes as you want. That's just how I roll. Cake and ice cream. So I'm going to have some of that. You're welcome to some. Once again, thanks for rocking it at my birthday party. Here's to another year. And whenever it's your birthday, I hope you have a great one. Don't forget to celebrate you and how great it is to make it through another year in this crazy world. I'm thinking of some of the best birthdays of the past for me, and I have to say that this is one of my favorites. I've always had really good ones. I remember my one when I turned 21 was pretty fun, but I've had a few fun birthdays at concerts. I think that's the best. I didn't really do that so far this year, but let me think. Stone Sour, that was a really fun concert for my birthday. Five Finger Death Punch went down to the Jackson County Fair. That was fun too. So that's always a great way to celebrate. But sometimes the best birthdays are just with family and friends, with people who you love. I find that just a kind of laid back birthday sometimes surprisingly is the best. But I have to say that it's fun to go out to and have a little cray-cray or whatever you want to call it. Just go a little crazy in honor of making it through another year. So I think whatever way to celebrate your birthday, I am all about. I've always had really fun birthdays. This one is right up there. And if you haven't subscribed to the podcast yet, that is a perfect birthday gift. It's very easy. Just search Anne Erickson wherever you listen to podcasts. Hit that button that says subscribe, and you'll be instantly notified when a brand new show is ready for you to rock out to. You can also reach out to me direct and wish me happy birthday. I will not be mad about it. Twitter and Snapchat at Anne Erickson. Instagram and TikTok at Erickson Anne. You can find my Facebook, just search Anne Erickson on Facebook and my page will pop up. Also head to itsmeanne.com, 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 and you can link up direct on all of my social media. It is very easy. Check out my band in honor of my birthday, Upon Wings, at uponwings.com for female-led metal music, and I think that you'll like it. Fingers crossed. I hope so. Check out YouTube, youtube.com/Audio Inc. Radio. That's INK, like Tattoo Inc. And finally, if you want to support the show, donate basically to help keep the cost of the show going strong. Everything from $1 a month and up really helps. So head to our Patreon. You can find the link in the show description. And if it's confusing for whatever reason, just hit me up and I'll help you out with it. Thank you for the great support. Thank you, Roger Jones, for being awesome. As always, you are the best. Thank you for your support of Audio Inc. Radio and Upon Wings. You know that I am eternally grateful. You know, it's hard to believe that we're already more than halfway through the year. Yeah, that's crazy. I cannot deal with that. I'm not ready for fall. I mean, I love fall. Fall is my favorite season. I love autumn. In fact, my Upon Wings band name, Anne Autumn, it's because obviously the autumn is part of my name because fall has always been a big part of my life. But the thing is that I just want summer to last forever and ever and ever because I'm loving it. I'm loving being outside. Where I live in Michigan, it gets really cold in the winter. It gets snowy. And every winter I'm like, do I want to go through this again? No, but I do it anyway because I was born here. I'm a Michigan girl. I love my job here and I do it. But I'm not ready for fall because that means winter, which is not cool. That said, I'm already lining up interviews for the rest of the year and no disappointments here. They are all A-list interviews. I cannot wait for you to hear the different guests that I have lined up. Just a broad range because, you know, the tagline is the biggest names in rock and metal, but we've done some alternative too. I mean, Pearl Jam, they're rock, totally they rock, but they're definitely grunge, alternative. And Smashing Pumpkins' recent guest, again, that's more alternative. So a broad range. I mean, I've got some heavy metalers coming up, a member of the Big Four. Yes, the Big Four. You can have fun kind of figuring out maybe what band in the Big Four. That's coming up. Everything from them to more kind of mainstream rock. It's all on the way. And it's going to be fun. Again, I mentioned the youtube.com/Audio Inc. Radio because that's really the best way to see the visual, the only way to see the visual interviews. Some of these interviews don't make it on the podcast. They're only visual interviews. So if you want to check those out, subscribe on YouTube, youtube.com/Audio Inc. Radio. That's INK, like Tattoo Inc. And that's the best way really to get the full picture because you can see me interviewing different bands and that's where you're going to see another broad range of different artists and different musicians on the show. Check that out. And as always, if you have any problem finding any of this stuff, just reach out to me. I am always here. I'm online right now. I'm online too much. All the time. And as always, I would love to hear from you. All right. I think that does it for my big birthday show. Once again, it was awesome to have you here. Thank you for partying it up with me, going a little crazy, going a little wild. As always, I had fun. I hope that you did too. Did you? All right. Awesome to hear it. And you know it. Until next time, be safe. God bless, and we'll rock soon. It's Anne Erickson on Audio Inc. Radio.
It's Audio Inc. with Anne.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Audio Inc. Radio podcast. Subscribe to our channel so you never miss an episode. Get inked online at audioinkradio.com. I'm Anne Erickson for the Audio Inc. Radio podcast.